Is working with a new real estate agent or a new lender a bad idea? Ooh, we're gonna make some enemies today, everybody. Not who you expect, but we're gonna. Okay, so first of all, if you guys like the channel, hit the like. If you already know this video, you're gonna hate it. Hit it hard. Comment. Everyone will have opinions on this one. And subscribe if you like the fact that I do not sound like a scripted commercial. Okay, so new agents, new lenders, right? The general consensus is like, oh yeah, no, right? I actually disagree with that. Here's why. I don't think it actually matters how long anyone's been in business. I don't think it means anything. What matters is how many transactions they've actually closed. I hear so often, and my team and I just we have threads on this, okay, of a real estate agent that will be trying to tell us how to do our job, and they'll be like, well, I've been doing this for 30 years. And I'm like, that's cool, Barbara. I looked up your numbers and you haven't closed a deal since 2017, okay? Real estate agents, just so you guys know, most lenders can look up your production. So if you're throwing the I've been doing this forever, I know everything card, just realize if you haven't done a deal or you've done one deal a year, we are not going to take that threat seriously, okay? Now look, I'm not just saying this to slam on people that don't do a lot of business. I'm saying this because there's a lot of people in our industry that use the fact that they've had a license, whether they're a lender or a real estate agent, for a long time to act as a form of credibility. Okay? Just because you got the license in the 80s doesn't make you a better real estate agent than someone that got it 2 years ago. Okay? So that's the first thing to keep in mind. Just because someone has had a license forever does not mean they're better. Bam. Okay? And look, I've been doing this for 16 years. Is that what makes me a good lender? No, I could have been doing this for 16 years, doing 10 deals a year, and guess what? I would suck. But I do a ton of transactions, and that's the key here with the first part of this. And then there's a second part of this as well, because everybody has to start out somewhere, so we'll talk about that. Don't get mad yet, new agents, new lenders. Okay, so transactions. Look, so important. The reason why my team is successful is because we touch so many files. And my career it's also the type of loans I do, right? My career started off in Govy land, right? USDA, VA, FHA. I started in 2008. I had to scrape my way to get where I am. And we have looked at every single complicated file. You know, you guys know I have an open phone line for you guys. We have a calendar. I've got 2 people staffed just to answer your questions. If we don't know the answer, we get underwriters involved, and that's how we keep on learning, right? It's the scenarios. That's the thing about lending. The guidebooks only tell you so much, right? The guidelines only tell you so much. So much of it is scenario based. So a good lender, a good real estate agent have touched a lot of different scenarios, right? So some of the strongest real estate agents I know, you know, they're in areas that are a little wonky, okay? And by a little wonky, I mean, and I always laugh, and like if any of my friends from Lake County are watching this, my lending career started in Lake County, California. Guys, it is still one of the affordable places in California to buy, and it is beautiful, so Google it. But anyways, but there's a lot of stuff that happens there. You know, there's a lot of properties where you're like, you know, so the real estate agent has challenges, the lender has challenges, and we're constantly figuring out how to make it work. That's what ultimately turns you into a good agent or a good lender, is being able to take complex situations and figure them out. Now, does it mean figuring out how to finance a house with a sinkhole to get it by? I'm talking about a friend who just did this, which I told him it was evil. No, it means figuring out what is positive for the buyer and what is negative for the buyer, what's in the buyer's best interest, and if it's in the buyer's best interest, how to make it work, okay? So You know, having experience with lots of different property types, lots of different personalities, that's another thing. You know, a good lender or a good real estate agent who's done a lot of transactions, they've seen it all. Like, it's hard to shake me. The only time I got shook in the last 3 years was the seller who wouldn't sign because they wanted cosmetic surgery in Colombia, because that was a new one. But I've seen most stuff. I've seen sellers get mad. I've seen them change their mind. I've seen buyers want the furniture. I've seen deals blow up because the real estate agent wants the furniture, and I've learned how to navigate through it, okay? And a good real estate agent, they may have only been in the business for 3 years, but if they've been in the business for 3 years and they're doing a good amount of transactions and navigating, they could be way better than Barbara, who's been doing it for 30 years, okay? So really important. The amount of time, I mean, cool, like you may be a better historian, but really it's the amount of volume, scenarios, people, transactions, okay? Because then you're getting this knowledge base. None of this stuff is taught in school. I cannot stress that enough. All of these scenarios just come at you, and as a lender, you learn as you go. You know, I still am learning every single day something new. And that's because it's not just guidelines, it's personalities, it's interpretations. On the real estate front, the real estate agents, it's not just how many years they've been doing it, it's how they're doing it, what they're doing, how many transactions they're doing, okay? So just because if you're looking at 2 realtors, one's been in business for 30 years, one's been in business for 2 years, do not discount this person because of the 2 years. See who's done the most business within the last 2 years, because they are going to be more of a market expert of what is happening now, okay? Okay, let's talk about baby agents, as I love to call them, and baby lenders. We are all a baby agent or a baby lender at some point. I remember, this is a horrible story. A real estate agent who actually was one of the realtors who sent me business for a long time until he retired. He was really funny because he called the company I was at. This was during the foreclosure days. And he asked me a couple questions, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're so much better than this other girl that I talked to last year. She was terrible. She didn't know anything." That was me. It was my first year. I didn't know as much, right? I had to get thrown into the water like a baby with no swimming lessons and figure it out. But I grew, okay? And that's the thing with a new lender or a new real estate agent. There's 2 different types of people, right? There's people who are going to get in that pool and they are going to figure it out. They don't have swimming lessons. They're going to survive. And there's other people that are just going to sink to the bottom. Okay. Recently, I was talking to what I would call baby agent, you know, less than, I would say, 16 months in the business, just a couple transactions. But the way that he could structure a deal and the way that he talked to people, I know he's going to be great. I know he's going to be one of the best agents. The way that he handled a complex situation was brilliant. Okay, and there is that in new agents. There are some new agents where they're looking at real estate and structuring different than someone may have been in the business for 30 years. And the way that they're looking at it is very helpful to you. You know, also effort, right? A new agent often has more time for you. It's that simple. And I am not saying like, because that's a double-edged sword, right? Like, we all know I'm busy, so should you not work with me because I'm busy? No. But at the same point, like with a new real estate agent, if you're someone, okay, actually this applies to lending too. If you're someone where you want to call the lender at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning and they better respond to you, do not work with me. Get a baby lender. Seriously, a baby lender is going to do that. A more experienced lender is going to have some boundaries. So if you're looking for a situation where they don't have boundaries, it's going to be the babies. And I hate to say that for all the new lenders, for all the new real estate agents, tough luck, guys. That's how you build a business. You build a business by being available nonstop until you've built that business. And then once you've built that business, you can have some boundaries. And the reason you have boundaries is because if you don't get them when you're my age, after doing this in so many transactions, you will crack, okay? So look, a baby lender, if you want someone who's available like that, great. Are they gonna have the same experience with scenarios and everything else? No. If your file's really easy, is that gonna be a problem? Probably not. Probably not. You know, are they gonna have the same experience with negotiating rates, everything else? No, of course not. But look, you could talk to another lender who's been in the business for 30 years, they're gonna be at the same point as a baby lender. So really, what's the difference? New agents. I have seen some new agents recently that honestly I think are better than some of the older agents. I think they're more aggressive. I think they work harder. I think they're thinking outside of the box. I think they're more in touch with the consumer, and they still remember what money is like. Because that's something you start to see in this industry as well, is you start to see money isn't real. I know, it sounds crazy, but like you'll have real estate agents where they're like, well, don't you have $10,000? And you're like, I have no money. They're like, well, just ask a friend. What? I don't have any money, right? Whereas a new agent will be like, oh my God, you don't have $10,000. Like, I get it. Okay, we got to figure this out. Right? But once again, it's going to depend on the person. If you're working with an agent that just sunk to the bottom, they're just going to go, oh, well, you don't have the money, we'll cancel. Whereas that survivor in the pool flopping around, they're going to help you figure it out. So what is the point of this video? Great question, and I was just wondering it myself. The point is this: do not discount someone because they are new. Do not discount someone because they've been in the business less years. Judge them by the amount of business they do. Okay, lots of transactions means they're in the market, they know what's going on, they're good, you know, they're having business, people are referring business to them, it's a really good sign. And if you're looking at a totally new, fresh canvas, okay, it's not necessarily a bad canvas. You just have to understand that it's in the point of the pool where it's either gonna sink or it's gonna swim. And if you think you've got a strong swimmer, go for it. If you're not sure, maybe go with the guys who are doing a bunch of transactions and who can guide you with all of their experience. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Was that the worst analogy I've used yet? Did this help you at all, or was it more of a rant? Please feel free to weigh in. I am licensed in 48 states to do loans, and yes, I think I've seen almost every scenario, but if you think you've got one we haven't, call me. Thanks for watching, guys. Truly coincidental there. Bye.